Welcome back to the Cool Lifting Podcast. I'm your host Theo, and this is your host Eric.
Yes.
And today we have a new fragrance. It's been a naughty fragrance. We're gonna get freaky on this podcast. Okay.
This will be carried away.
Yeah.
What?
This will be a recap of 2025 and I guess a little bit of our goals for 2026, coaching and athlete related. So I guess to start, like, how was your 2025 as a coach / athlete? It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Athlete was a lot better than 2023, 2024. And then as a coach, I think there was just more growth and learning that happened.
I agree. Same thing for me. Other than this whole last month of being sick and then injuring my foot.
It's the worst kind of injury because it's not even a powerlifting injury.
Yeah, no, for real.
Can't do as much about it.
Yeah. But like the main goal of 2024 was for me to not get injured anymore. Well, like lifting wise.
Yeah, this one doesn't really count.
Yeah, right.
In a way.
You know, those
nagging. It's like hurting your finger or something like that. And it's like,
right.
It's outside of powerlifting in a way, but it's still annoying.
Yeah, but the last one I had with my lat and then having to do a nerve flossing and all that.
Was that your lat or was that your neck? Or was it tied in?
It was tied in with each other. And then after that, like getting back to my peak strength. And then that was the goal of the first half. And then the second half was trying to build on that total, which I felt like I was building a lot of momentum, and then obviously...
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of momentum, and then neck thing happened.
Yeah.
And then post-meet prep foot thing happened.
All right. So, as an athlete, it was kind of up and down, but mostly up. And then as a coach, it's been heavily up, I would say.
Yes.
So, I guess we'll knock down some of these questions one by one. And I'll start with the first one. So... what surprised you the most this year as a coach?
For that one, I would say when I first started coaching, I got a few lifters with just a lot of talent right off the bat. And they were either just jacked or they had moved really well technique-wise. And I just thought, wow, this is crazy that just right off the bat, they're this good, or they look like they can be this good in a year. And then I started working with a lot more just regular lifters, which isn't bad or anything. But those lifters, maybe things just came a little slower, or things were just harder to get technique down as quick as some other people. It was just surprising to see two sides of the coin.
Yeah, I actually understand exactly where you're coming from, because
we've talked about this a good amount just in private and personal conversations.
And like for me, I remember picking up a few athletes who had an athletic background, like wrestling, football,
athletic background,
baseball, and like you tell them like, hey, like you should do this cue and feel like it'll feel like this, and they'll be able to explain it back to you like, oh, I understand exactly what you're talking about. And then there's some athletes that I picked up too. I guess these other athletes kind of, helped shine the coaching, and then picked up the newer athletes. And when you try to explain the same thing, they're having trouble grasping those concepts.
And some people are more natural at it than others. And this was a hard thing for me to understand. I thought about this like a few years back, just lifting wise. Like some people are just very natural at basketball, and they're going to shoot a basketball and then it'll make the basket. But then some lifters, just squatting, benching, and deadlifting is not natural to them.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think for me, a lot of that is also tied into like the perception of my team and my personality. A lot of lifters who I started with also, or I should say newer lifters, they were people who like maybe didn't, play sports. Like they were, doing art or music and then going into like
They're
a
very specific.
yeah, right. No, just I guess examples.
Mine were video gaming.
Yeah.
I'm gamers.
That's a big one.
That's what I did. I wasn't really an athlete, but I don't think I didn't really know all the, when I first started powerlifting, I didn't really know all the nitty gritty. So I would say it took me a while to get efficient technique, but it's also not like I had a coach and I was trying to get efficient technique. I didn't even know really what that was. So I can't even say for sure how natural at it versus not natural at it I was at. I would say average overall.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, but yeah, like it's obviously just like learning an instrument or like you said, basketball.
Some people just right off the bat can play the piano. Some people can't.
You a chess prodigy?
some people have to play chess, and some people are just like stuck in, I don't know all the chess ratings. I don't know, like 1,000 ELO.
Yeah.
Chess reference for those who know.
All right. So I guess I'll go with what surprised me the most this year. And yours is related to this, but it's just the overall perception of things that I saw as obvious, maybe as a coach and athlete, and not as obvious to lifters. So this could be stuff like, what is realistic on meet day? Like I've had athletes, like let's say they pull like 465 or something, and they're like, oh, I want to pull like 550 or like some ridiculous number.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Too.
And then
I think that slowly tapers off as they continue to power lift. And then they're doing their however many meet and they're like, dang, I still don't pull 550.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro.
Right.
Takes a minute.
And then what I wrote down, which is related to you, which is like movement patterns and how to learn things like cues versus how you're supposed to feel something out. Like for me, like I've always thought like, oh, like, you use the cue and then you kind of figure out what you're supposed to feel. And like they kind of have a hard time separating those two. And then really basic stuff like how important it is to fill in a sheet, like when to give videos, like when is it, like what is okay to talk about, like in private, stuff like that. Yeah, like I've been having to put more guidelines of like, hey, send your videos within 24 hours, stuff like this.
Yeah, it's interesting. You'd think everyone would just be like, hey, I want to send you all my videos, but not everyone does.
Yeah, right. Okay, so next question here. What beliefs about coaching changed in 2025? So this one is a topic that we do talk a lot about. And I should preface this by saying that this is something that I've always cared about. But then like I realized how much it actually matters in 2025. And it's just how much accessories do matter, and the perception of how hard someone is training is extremely skewed. Like they don't really understand what like an RP 7 and 9 is actually supposed to look and feel like. And I started running into this a lot because in my system, I try to make up a lot of volume through the accessories. And then when someone's lifts were maybe stalling a little bit, I was problem solving, but then I was like, wait, like, let me just see how you're doing this leg press. And then it was just like really heavily sandbagged. And I was like, oh, well, I should probably just start with this. Like, yeah. And then things started to click a lot easier.
Yeah, there have been a lot of times it's just like you're trying to problem solve the program, and then you're like, wait, let me ask this guy this one question, and then everything unfolds pretty quickly.
Right. What about you?
So for this one, I would say just overall the technique and how one moves determines everything. Really, the progress, the how well the program can be run, the amount of pain a lifter is in. Like if they're just having a technique where they're super overly on one side, they might be in some pain. And with this one, with a lot of my mentorship calls at the start, it was just talking about technique for a lot of my lifters. And then, but it was way more technique than programming, because in my mind, I was very much like, well, what can we even do programming wise when this technique is looking like this? So, but then once that gets fixed, everything else kind of falls into its place. And then as a lifter becomes more advanced, it's more about really keeping that good technique and making sure we don't stray away from it by, I mean, we can still try new things, but we don't want to try all these new things because it might stray away a little too hard, or maybe we need certain accessories or just certain variables to be locked in so we can continue to have technique that looks just like this. And then kind of as an athlete as well, but the training environment matters a ton is something that I've learned. My training environment was really good in 2021, 2022. And then in 2023, it was all right. It wasn't bad. 2024 was in the middle, but 2025, it was very good. And I think that really reflected on I think it showed with my progress as well.
Yeah, the second one I definitely agree on, because it's not that I can't get good quality training by myself, but there's just some weird X factor.
Yeah.
Just training with a lot of people who care about training and like your friends, that like just, I felt like exponentially increased my gains and just like my urge to recover and like be the best athlete I can. And then the technique one, you nailed on the head. That's something we've talked a lot about because I've seen this in my clients where, you know, like I've had athletes who are pulling a lot with their back in conventional, but then
but it's like you can only get so far. And like let's say they pull 465 and then maybe they can get to 500, but they won't be able to get to 550 pulling like that. And I've had athletes who are in that boat and they're pulling like low fives, and I'm like, well, maybe we can get to 530, but I really don't think we're getting past 535. Like I don't even think we're getting to 550 with this technique ever. Like no matter how hard we try, no matter how many programming things we do. So it just determines our ceiling too.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I remember talking with an athlete, Kyle DeLeon, Dumpy, and we were talking about like positioning on deads. And I remember him telling his athlete, like, your pull will, you know, give you this deadlift number, but this will open up the ceiling to like infinity, pretty much. And then ever since then, like, I think that's always stuck with me too. Like, you gotta, like, you're only so limited before your lower back will just exponentially like give out or something on squat and deads, or your shoulders and pecs will just explode on bench.
Everyone has a different ceiling. Some people's ceiling, it's like maybe they can get to 600 and then they'll stall out. But other people, maybe it's like they can get to 500 and then they'll stall out.
Yeah, right.
But there's still a ceiling.
All right. So what you stopped doing in 2025?
This one, I'd say the biggest thing is I just stopped explaining how to pull slack and slack pull.
Yeah.
And more so just talked about, for someone's deadlift, trying to get them in a good position overall to where the slack pull comes naturally, or maybe they don't even do much of a slack pull, but just this deadlift looks better overall. But stuff, I don't like saying pull more slack or something in that.
Like the nuances of it.
Yeah. It's so up for interpretation.
This is something that when you talked about, I started doing a lot more because I remember talking with Alex too, and you know, he mentioned force production is the number one thing that matters, and that's pretty obvious. But if you're doing the slack pull and wedge incorrectly,
the slack pull is like anti-force production.
Exactly right. Like people start struggling with that.
It's like we're going really slow to get all the tension, but we're not. We need there to be some oomph to get the force production.
Right.
But there's no oomph if we just go really slow and get all the tension out, and then we get stapled later on when things get heavy. Agreed.
But then I also realized too, like, because I do a pretty big slack pull and then I wedge in, but I feel like I'm also able to maintain that force. But that's also because I'm probably better leverage for deads. Like, it's just easier for me to do that. And I realized, like, not many people have an ape index of like 2 or more. So yeah, that's something I strayed a little bit more away from.
What about you?
So this is, I guess, like more so what I started to do, but it's not or I should say, I started following my gut more and doing more aggressive changes when I felt like it was needed. Like, let's say I wanted to like add more volume in. I might have added like a set or something, but then I'm like, well, I think this person needs a lot more workload, so I might actually add like a set here, a set on their secondary day, etc. And I found that just kind of understanding the principles of training, but then like knowing when you need to be really aggressive was the right call, because when you're more advanced, obviously you need those type of changes to happen.
Yeah, the whole following your gut, it's like for me when I first started coaching, it was harder to do because the athlete would tell me something and their feedback would be against what my gut would be telling me.
Yeah.
And then I'd listen a little too much, and then things would not go well. And then I would think, you know what, let me just make this change that I had in my mind. And I make the change and then things go way better.
Yeah, right.
But the athlete, they can influence in a way.
Yeah, that's also important because like sometimes we'd be like, oh, it just feels heavy on my back. And I'm like, nah, trust me, dude. Like, this is what's working.
Source, trust me, bro.
Yeah, trust me, bro. Okay, next question for you. What were the most repeated problems athletes brought up?
The most repeated problems, I tried to think of one for squat, bench, and deadlift. But for squat, I guess it was a bracing thing, but that was easier to get down with a lot of my people sort of off the rip. So I wouldn't say it was too much of a repeating problem, but it was a repeating problem when they were first to becoming my athlete. And then for bench, not being able to get enough neck pressure on the bench, this just takes a lot. Like, this takes a lot of being conscious, a lot of trying. And I've had so many athletes and so many people I don't coach say something like, I am getting my neck on the pad, or I am getting this neck pressure. And then I'm just thinking, no, you are not. There's nothing there. And I'm like, hey, we need a little more. And then I'm just like, hey, I need you to like try your absolute hardest on this set. And then they try insanely hard, and then they get something good. They're like, oh wow, I had to do a lot on that set. It's like, yeah, you have to do a lot overall to maintain it. But that's the thing, it's easy to get complacent with that. And then the bench isn't looking as good as it used to. And then for deadlift, going from a closed deadlift to an open one is easier said than done. But this one also, like I've had some athletes who are struggling with this, and we're getting on the right path, but it's taking a while. And I've thought to myself, like, is it better to just continue with this current technique? But then I think their ceiling is so much lower at this current technique, because we've also kind of seen where these sticking points are. Like, it's not gonna be any greener on this technique if we stay. It's like, we do need to make this change. But that one's also, like, I've had athletes where they do get open on deadlift and it looks really good, and then over time it slowly gets closed, and I need to remind them, hey, we need to get back open again because things are starting to show.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of that too. Like, even sometimes on the sumo, some people will just like naturally start changing their stance, like back to
You don't even notice, 'cause it's such a small change right off the bat. And you don't even notice until like 2 to 3 blocks later. And then you look at an old video and you're like, holy cow, this is so different. And now this technique is so different, and now we're really struggling.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Like, I've noticed a lot of that when, obviously we're online coaches, but then sometimes I'd be able to meet these athletes in person.
Yeah,
and
you see it in person.
Whoa, what's going on, bro?
Did you experience that at Cougar?
Yeah, I did.
I've experienced that at, like, maybe I see him in Houston a good amount, but, you know, maybe like we're both training at the same gym for a bit. I'm doing my own training, they're doing their own training, or maybe they're going to a different gym in Houston, but I'll see them at a meet whenever I'm handling them. And I just think, wow, I do not remember you doing this. I'm not going to say anything on meet day though, because there's only so much we can do. We're trying to max out, but it's something I say like the week after, when that new block gets written up, and that's happened plenty.
Yeah, agreed. All right, I'll do my problems here. So I guess I'll start with the squat, and I want to say it has to do with what was related with what you said about bracing, because it relates to the other problem, which is midfoot pressure. But I noticed like a lot of people weren't bracing properly, so then they would extend their rib cage up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the midfoot pressure stuff not be as big of an issue if the brace is good.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you're able to maintain that position, you should just go straight up and down at that point. But if you're not braced properly, you can be too much in extension, or if you're not bracing enough, you'll be like in a little bit of flexion on the way up. And then for bench, this was a little bit more of a weird one for me, and it was like internal rotation, IR. Some people doing too much, some people not doing enough, and causing a little bit of like shoulder/neck pain. So I've been trying to dial in like finding the right amount of IR for like someone's leverages, I guess, or as someone's technique got more efficient, they naturally will probably want to do more IR, but then they weren't.
That was something I dealt with for a while, and I've just been better about being more upfront with them, being like, "Hey, this is too much."
Yeah.
Yes, you. And then maybe if someone needs a little more, then being upfront with that as well.
Yeah. And then for me, the deadlift was the same exact one as you. I feel like this will always be the one for a sumo puller, which is like...
I think that it's just people wanting to try new things.
Yeah.
But
right.
that's not the answer.
Right.
We get the best thing, and then we do that forever. Forever and ever and ever, until we stop powerlifting.
Yeah.
Because the other options usually aren't as good.
Nah, dude. We're going back to conventional.
Or it's that.
Yeah. All right. This is an interesting question that you wrote, but what was the biggest thing we both learned on our mentorship calls?
You can go first on this one.
Okay. So I think the biggest overall concept that I learned was just being able to problem solve better and having a better system in place for asking questions and what changes to apply first. Like having a better order of operations, I guess. Like we talk about it like an algorithm where like you ask these questions, you get the input and output things, and then like it kind of leads to this one.
Yeah, we got to make it into an AI bot.
Yeah, right. But the reason why I say this, like this is I didn't have this problem, but this is a common problem that I see, which is like coaches adding more frequency early in someone's like bench program in the problem solving, but like something that's maybe a little bit more skewed in my problem solving is like doing it later, like maybe adding more volume, maybe adding more intensity on these other days first, because if you add another day in, it just makes things more convoluted. Just a small example for like, I have things a little bit better like in my head now. So what about you? What was something that you learned?
Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier. I would just say how much the technique matters, and a lot of pain is usually caused by being too much on the hurt side. So if you're getting all this left quad pain, maybe you're too much on this left leg, and we need to find a way to get onto this right side a little bit more. And it's not so much a question of what drill do we do, it's more of a question of what drill do we do to get you onto the right side. And with this also, I think the besides these two, the biggest thing I learned was a lot of things just make sense. And if someone's lifting a certain way or their technique is a certain way, it makes sense that they're going to struggle. It makes sense that they're going to be in pain. And if their program has a certain thing in it or it has certain accessories, it makes sense that this is going to pop up as well. And a lot of it just makes sense, and you need to just look through things as in like what is the cause and what is the effect.
Yeah. I guess since this has been coming up a lot in our conversation, was there one lift that you felt like it was popping up a lot on where people maybe weren't being as on top or not able to be as on top with their tech and it was causing them more pain than on other lifts? Or was it kind of like an even spread?
I would say on bench, there hasn't been too much pain for my people. On squat, there have been things getting funky with someone just being on one side too much. And then on deadlift, I would say not pain, but just maybe their back is fried if they're deadlifting poorly. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But I'd say squat has had, what has had the most injuries? Not injuries, but like the most aches and pains for you. I'd say squat for me.
Yeah.
For my lifters.
Squat with the knee and the lower back. Because, like, it's what you were saying. Like, I did a lot of changes in my programming with doing more unilateral work, like single leg press or something, just so that they can get used to that. Like, okay, I'm actually pressing more, or like my one leg's stronger than the other, and kind of getting that evened out. And then the second is the deadlift. But to be honest, I think I had this more with my conventional pullers, just because they're just using their back way more. Like the sumo pullers that I have are actually pretty efficient. So
You're too good of a coach.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, I think I was just fortunate enough to pick up a lot of sumo pullers with good leverages for it.
But something with the mentorship calls that have been really good. I really only talked about the mentorship on this podcast. I've told like 2 people. I haven't told too many people.
Yeah.
But it's been really good to, or like I'll ask a question. The question will get the answer. But then I'll see that same question pop up for multiple athletes. And then I'm able to help those other athletes from this question I asked a month or 2 ago, or from something I learned a month or 2 ago. And because a lot of these problems pop up repeatedly. And I've had a few problems where, like a big reason I asked if we could do a mentorship was because there were some lifters who were just having problems that I've never seen. And I just had like no idea what to do. But those are more rare to pop up, but a lot of these, I guess, in the middle problems, they continue to pop up. Like maybe I'll get a new lifter and they'll have that problem already.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I already dealt with this a few months ago, or like even before the mentorship, if I already knew what that problem was, like I've already seen this a ton of times. Like, yeah, we can definitely get this fixed.
Yeah, I saw that a lot this year too, because I think my roster for how many conventional pullers that I picked up this year, like I maybe had like 2, and now I have like 6 or something. Like, and it's not that I was not confident in my programming for conventional, but then it was what you're saying, like
some things just a little more niche,
like rare,
like
right?
Like you can't Google all this stuff because it's like what is this random problem where someone's sumo deadlift is shifting to one side and then it's getting kicked forward as well.
Yeah.
And now they aren't able to handle what they used to handle. It's like what do you even type in on Google to get an answer for that? Right.
You got to make the ad. Hey, you're the programmer. All right.
Well, what about you?
You
already answered it, right?
Yeah. We're the next one.
Okay, next question.
You can start with this one. So, what were the traits of an athlete who made the most progress? Like, who had that dog in the...
Yeah, I was thinking about this a lot, and I'd say before I used to think it was variables, and while I do think variables are important, of course, I've had athletes who are just not as on top of things, but then they make a ton of progress.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck, bro? How do you do that? And I would say the biggest things of these athletes is just those who log everything in the spreadsheet, the weight of the accessories and the weight of the regular lifts. And most people log the weight of the regular lifts, but for those who don't, when things start to go badly, I take a look at their old programs and then I don't see any weight logged. And then I just think like, man, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And I texted this one athlete who said something like, man, in this block I was doing really well. And I go to look back on that block and literally nothing is logged. And I said, man, I wish something was logged in this sheet so we could see what you were doing. And then he just like, there's like he doesn't really respond to it at all. He just sends me his videos on the next day. I'm like, all right, well, we're working with what we got.
That's actually funny.
I would say that one's really tied in, and then just the ones who are really conscious of getting their tech down each session.
Yeah.
And same thing with those two, and then just those who have it as a high priority.
Yeah. Now that nails it on the head. I think it's a lot more concise than what I'm about to say.
You can ramble, that's fine.
Yeah, the reason why I wanted to say all these points is because I felt like a major theme for me, at least this year, was what can I provide to my athletes and just like friends in the gym that like the elite powerlifters are doing that are kind of like the things that people should be focusing on. And, you know, talking to Alex, Carrington, you, like what is the difference between like a 500 dots lifter versus like someone who's 400, and how can like more of the mental side. And I guess this is the gist of what I found. So the first one was the unwavering belief in themselves and their coach to be able to solve the problems. So we talked about this a little bit in a previous episode where, you know, you just got to be able to trust that your coach will be able to solve the things for you. They'll get that answer. And that just has to tie in with like program buy-in, like athlete/coach relationship stuff. And just not having self-doubt. I think everyone knows about that. And then the second one is just being able to know what the important details in their training is and then just ignore the noise. So for example, there's athletes who would, you know, like freak out about a week 1 or 2 squat feeling slightly off, but then they'll like sandbag their accessories or something. Or bench didn't quite feel as good, but then they haven't really been prioritizing certain things like their accessories or meals, stuff like that. And then the last thing is what you mentioned, which is just being meticulous in their training and just caring about the small details. So for example, like all of the reps in your technique look the same, or your back downs, you want to kind of get into that, I guess what they say, full auto state.
Or as they say, the flow state.
The flow state, yeah. I'm always in the flow state. But and then what I mean by being meticulous is just like, even like small things I notice where like if the program says like 281 pounds, like I've had a couple athletes like just load 287 because it's like 2 reds and a white versus like loading those small chips.
I've had athletes do that same thing and then fail.
Right.
And then I say something like, well, you weren't supposed to do that. Like,
Right.
No. That can't be it.
Yeah. But I think this goes back to what you said, like filling out the sheet, caring about these small details, like you're actively wanting to do all of the right things and checking all the things in your head, or the check boxes in your head. So doing the small things like that, it shows like you actually care a lot.
Yeah, I would say just having it as a high priority. And I'm thinking about all of the athletes who have done extremely well with me, like above average progress, and I would say all of them just have it as a very high priority. And then because of that, all these other things just fall into place, and they're doing all the other things by default because this is a high priority for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So definitely put it more concise than I did, but so I guess this segues into the traits of athletes who stalled.
The opposite.
And I'll start because it's literally what you said, and I put athletes who just didn't put as much mental effort into their training, didn't send videos on timely matter, didn't fill out their sheets, you know, just came in and did the primary top set and then kind of like mentally checked out on everything else, like back downs, accessory work, stuff like that. What about you?
Same with the didn't fill out the sheet at all, just because it is such a, like if they for some reason start to struggle, there's nothing to look back on. And because there's nothing to look back on, like there's still the sets and the reps and in theory what we did. But if some of these days, maybe they got moved around in the past, or maybe just weight wise, we're unsure of what we're doing, then there's not as much to look back on. But for the people who continue to make really good progress, yes, they might have some, what am I trying to say? They might have some struggles in their training, But then we can look back on these older programs when things were going really well, and we can look back at these older videos that they sent when things were going really well, and we can see the differences, and then we can make these changes so they can progress much faster. But if we can't do that, it's just going to take longer because there's not as much data to go off of, and in a way we have to guess a little bit more.
Yeah. I've been dealing with that a little bit more too, especially when it comes to like pacing things out.
The pacing things out, yeah, now we can't see how things were paced out if this program is not filled out.
Yeah, right. Like, because I did notice like this theme with a lot of athletes where they wanted to like start way heavier, I guess just because it was cooler.
Yeah.
But then like it just ended up making things harder by the time they got to the end of the block. But then, like when we started tracking those things and filling out the sheet, like things started to make way more sense.
Yes, things make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, and then it was, like I said it in the other question, but it wasn't really the outside variables that caused those to stall. It was more so those who didn't see it as a high priority and those who didn't fill out the sheet.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, that was something else.
Send videos.
Yeah, I wanted to say this too, where like there's certain variables that were just hitting my athletes harder than others. It was just depending on the person.
Yeah, that one's super person to person.
But like overall, like I think there was like a lot of times where people emphasize this one thing in training or like an outside variable, but like in the grand scheme, it didn't really matter that much as they thought. Like if they just prioritize training, like you said.
Yeah.
All right. So next question for you. What were the common mistakes you saw at meets? What was it there at meet day? Was it not there?
So with this one, it ties in with just going to meets to handle, and whether it was my athletes or other people's athletes that I handled or just other people who I saw in the warm-up room, I'd say not having warm-ups written down. This is something I really like to do just because I don't like having to figure this out the day of the meet.
Yeah, you're the clipboard guy.
I got the clipboard and it has all the warm-ups, it has all the attempts, and then it has a few notes to make sure they hit comp standard. But like I would see coaches just asking their athlete, like let's say they take 1 red, 2 red, 3 red, and then they're asking their athlete, all right, what else do you normally take on this day? And then the athlete is trying to figure it out, and it takes time too, and we don't have as much time on meet day. We have to really just warm up and make sure we get to the platform on time. Poor recomp processes as well. I don't even know if poor is the right word. I'd more so just say very unplanned recomp processes.
Yeah.
And whether they don't eat anything or whether they have too little food. Too much food was harder to find because normally you need a good chunk of stuff to recomp because you don't. If you are training at 80, or if you're waking up morning body weight at 85 and then you cut down to 82.5, but then you go back up to 85, you actually need to get to like 86, 87 because that's where you train at
6,
in the afternoon or whatever it is. So you need to gain all this weight back. It's very much a 2-part process. Running out of water, that kind of ties in with the recomp. Not all venues, not all gyms have water fountains. And then I had an athlete cramping the other day. Luckily we were able to get him some water, but I asked, he said he was cramping. I'm like, hey, you should get your water. He said, I ran out. I only brought like 2 bottles. Yeah, he didn't say that, but I've seen athletes only bring like a bottle, like a plastic bottle of water, and that's it. And I tell them this is going to be an all-day thing. Hope that's enough for you. But another thing also, this is a lot of things. Just being okay with taking the lower ends. And that's something that's just helped my athletes hit a lot of attempts. Because of course everyone has their big goals that they want to hit. But if it's between hitting this big goal and not hitting a meet PR or hitting a much smaller meet PR than we wanted, we should probably go like 5 pounds lighter and secure all this other stuff.
Yeah. To time with what you're saying, like as competitors, like you always have to remember, like there's just so many things on meet day that are just out of your control. So like in your head, you're thinking if things go perfectly, I'll be able to hit this total. But like it happened at our last meet.
People don't go perfectly.
Right.
Like, did you have anything go perfect at your last meet?
Hell no. Yeah.
My squat, my squat went well, but I still, in a way, took the lower end just because I really couldn't afford to miss it. My bench did not go perfect, and then my deadlift, I dropped my last deadlift. So in a way, it was still good, but it didn't go perfect. But there was this one meet way back when, before I was even coaching, where there were these two guys, and it was a friend coaching a friend. And then they were writing out this attempt sheet, and I think I went to hang out at their place one day, and I pull up, and they were telling me like how they were talking about their attempts, and they said, okay, this is if we feel bad, this is if we feel normal, this is if we feel good, this is if we feel really good, and then this is if we feel God mode. And that dude went like 5 for 9 or 6 for 9. Like, bro, this stuff that never happens. It's usually like, hey, we feel pretty solid, and we can put up some pretty solid numbers, but
Bro, didn't go God mode. That's crazy.
Yeah, that part. I remember too. Like I wasn't coaching at all back then, and I was just looking at this and thinking, we'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah, it's so funny because I do remember stuff like that. Hearing it, and then he was like, "Yeah, you have a 3A, 3B, 3C, but on deadlift you'll have like a 3E." I was like, "What does that even mean?"
It's also a thing of like if we're opening with X weight, but then we're trying to go full send God mode.
Yeah.
Like we have to open way higher than that in order for things to make sense to even go for that number. It's like let's say we're trying to squat 500, but we're opening with 400 pounds. Then it's like that is a very big difference, and it's not happening.
Come on,
and
bro.
it's this, so like let's say someone's max is like 475 or something, and they open with 400, they do a second attempt at 450, and then they want to do their third at 500. Of course the 450 second attempt is going to move well because it's 450, but that 500 third attempt is not going to move.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. I had a little bit of that, and as someone who does like craft jumps,
it's also a little different than
but
craft jumps.
But it also, like, because there's going to be a point of like, hey, this doesn't make sense relative to your 1 rep max. Because obviously, like, if you have like an 800-pound deadlift, you can take that jump, but like for someone whose max was like 500, it's like
we got one listener who's 700-pound deadlifter.
Oh really? Oh yeah. I know you.
I don't know if we have another.
Yeah.
Do we?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. We got some 600-pound pullers in here.
Yeah.
In the chat.
But yeah, right. Like someone going from like, I don't know, like 630 to 700, that's like somewhat doable. But someone going from 430 to 500 is not doable. If your max is 500, that's like a big jump.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just too much. But I've seen a lot of people just miss attempts, and it's not even about this missing attempts. It's more about, hey, this total, we were supposed to have a good total, and now this total really sucks. And it's like maybe like it's barely above what it like the last total, or maybe it's negative just because we missed these weights, and that's what it's more so about.
Yeah, true. All right. Okay,
but your turn.
Okay, so mine is just, I guess this is more catered towards those beginners because I think those are the ones who have the most mistakes. But it's just like the overall experience of not understanding how a warm-up room is ran. So what I mean by that is like too many people on one rack, like that happens a lot, or like even stuff like just so many people in one area when they're kind of like in the way of the athletes or something like that.
A lot of people in one area. I'm not a big fan of having people who aren't the athlete or the coach in the warm-up room. It's just too many, and sorry.
Right.
It's too much going on, and I'm trying to load weights, and they're just standing there. I'm like, dude, I need you to move over now.
Right.
I need you to stop yapping right now because we're trying to lock in.
Nah, for real. Like, unless you're helping, you're loading the plates and stuff, like...
But with how a lot of these meets are ran, it's just it's natural for people to easily
Yeah.
go over to the other side. It's not segued off.
Right. Like there's no like ID card unless you're at like Nats, obviously.
Regionals, there was something like that. Now there's something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But at these local meets, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a coach, and then like you're just standing there. But to time what you said, like not timing warm ups properly, not knowing like how many jumps that you're gonna take for your warm ups, and who needs to go first in the warm up room because they're earlier in the flight, stuff like this, where it's like, oh, like my athlete needs to go right now. He's the first one on the platform. Then everyone has to like unload everything and then let this person go on. Like you should already have that ready when you're all there.
Yeah, there was one guy at Cougar who asked if he could work in when we were like on our almost last bench warm-ups.
Yeah.
And I said no. And he looked like he really didn't like that. And I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah, bro,
you're not my
go away.
athlete. Go away. You were not on this platform for squat.
Oh, we already had that in place, bro.
No.
Yeah. All right. And then the last one, just like small things like drinking too much water or not drinking enough. Yeah.
Go to the bathroom.
Yeah. But that goes with what you're saying, like not having a recomp process.
Yeah, the recomp process is... I've seen people, it's either not planned or they're just straight up lazy.
Yeah.
It's one of those two.
Yeah. All right. But I guess that kind of ends my rant on mistakes that I saw. Okay, next topic. Handling and traveling experiences to meets.
Yeah, so for this one, I guess this one's a little more coaching-esque on our end.
Yeah.
But for me, I've planned training around it, and it's fine. Like I changed my whole split just so I didn't change it, but I shifted my days over just so I could handle and have it be easier on my training, because doing my primary deadlifts and primary bench after training or after handling was just a little too much. And the meet overall, of course, it's fun. It's fun to be there for the athletes. But scheduling wise, it really is handle and then train and then respond to athletes and go to bed. And that's literally the whole day, which isn't bad or anything, but it's very much like
you got a full weekend.
If you don't really make, or if you're trying to do all this other fun stuff on the same days you're handling, it's just like, where is the time?
Yeah. I feel that. For me, like I definitely think the traveling and handling was really fun. Like one big thing that I didn't really think would matter that much to me, I guess, was meeting new coaches and then like seeing them at another meet and like just being in the space and like just meeting new faces and seeing people like succeed. And then training with them in, you know, the new areas of gyms. I felt like I traveled a lot this year.
How many meets did you fly out to?
I think it was at least 3.
I think you did more than me.
Yeah. Like I had a lot of multiple athletes doing like a traveling meet, so I felt more obligated.
Did you go to Philadelphia this year? Or Pennsylvania? Or whatever?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Yeah, but like all the like collegiate nationals, USAPL Raw nationals.
Yeah, you went to collegiate, that's right. Yeah, I didn't go to collegiate this year.
I went to New York for ISDFA bench nationals.
Yeah, they added a few letters in there.
Yeah, like,
put a plus at the end.
yeah, right. I was like, what's going on with this
Too
one?
long, bro.
Yeah, just
because I saw his IDFPA, and then I pull up open powerlifting, and then I see someone who competed at Worlds, and it's like ISAD.
Yeah, right. Just the whole
it's
thing.
a lot.
But that was fun. But the one thing that I think for me, which like I wasn't ever really struggling with this, but like I was working a full-time job, like just taking a lot of PTO for work.
Yeah.
And then like there was just so many like hidden expenses during travel.
Yeah. What was the biggest hidden expense for you?
Just
I'll
like
tell you mine.
Ubering, like eating out because people want to go. And then
I was going to say the food. The food, because I pretty much planned
the traveling.
and it made sense. And I was like, hey, this is like, I'm not paying anything crazy.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm living in luxury on these for these meets, but it's a fair price. Awesome. but then the food, just go to a grocery store, buy a ton of stuff, then I eat out.
Yeah, right.
this food is what broke the bank, not
Yeah.
the hotel, not the rental, not anything like that. Or the
Had an
flight.
event for powerlifters is like, oh, you guys want to get like Korean barbecue after? And it's like, boom, $40, like down the drain. New York, it was brutal. That was so expensive. But like, it was worth it though. Like,
Yeah,
but,
it's something to just take into consideration.
yeah.
Where it's something like, ideally, in a way, if I am going, then I really want my people to do well because I'm about to spend some money on this too.
Yeah. Because like in my head, it was like, okay, this is collegiate nationals, this is raw nationals.
Yeah.
First, like my athletes' first times there. I want to be there for them. And then the bench nationals or their version of IPF or whatever. I was like, okay, this is, for me, that trip was, there's a lot of expenses that were cut, so it actually made it worth it.
Yeah.
So that's how it was for me. Like free housing because I was with my roommate, or not my roommate, like my cousin, and then just stuff like that.
You going to CNATS this year? I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like I'll be at Raw Nats, CNATS, and then PA Age Division.
I'll be at Age Division, CNATS. I'll be at High School Nats, which is, or USAPL, which is about an hour north of Austin. And Raw Nats, I don't know if I'm handling there, but it's kind of like everyone's kind of switching. So
Yeah.
it's more so, I just don't have as many people.
Yeah. I also felt like
I need to figure that out.
yeah, sorry. I was gonna say I felt like you actually had a lot of big things happen to you. Like
Yeah,
you
that's
had Byron
why-
go to Worlds as well. I mean, obviously they have a coach there, so you didn't go, but like that's a big deal.
But that was also factored into, do I want to travel? And then I was thinking, well, I think if this guy does really well, it'll be really good for everything.
Right.
So I'll take the risk. It's not even a risk. It's like,
Yeah.
even if it goes poorly, there's, I still want to be there for them.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll move on to the next question. Where you still need to improve as a coach? Where is your L coaching?
Oh man, for this one I would say my just time management. Thank you, Andrew Game Day. But general time management, and it's not terrible. I still get my stuff done on time, but if I'm not on top of it, the work piles up really fast. And I also need to wake up a little bit earlier, plan my days out the night before. And I really think if I fix I'll fix those three things, then I'm perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm the perfect human being.
That's something that I started focusing more on this year as well. Like this day at this time, I'm going to be writing my blocks and like not wavering from it. Stuff like that. Because like I think for me and you,
We've had it. Yep.
yeah, like
Yeah.
when you have to do 25 plus.
Now, yeah, with
sheets.
more athletes, it becomes more of a real job, which is totally fine and which is awesome. But it's very much, if you don't take this real job seriously, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah,
So better
true.
take it seriously. I want everyone to do well. So,
Yeah, but-
yeah.
Mine's related to what yours is. It's just having a better coach / personal life schedule. Like, for me, separating times for coaching and then just friend relationship stuff. I think for me next year, I'm going to be more strict on having office hours. Like,
I've thought about that too.
yeah.
I think I'd introduce taking Sunday off
Yeah.
before I introduce office hours. I don't know if I'd introduce both at the same time, but
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
I
one
do
over the other.
think as this becomes more of a real job, a small break would be nice.
Yeah, that's what I think Steve Denovi did this year. My coach Marcellus just started, or not just started. He's been doing that for a while, but he takes like 3 planned vacations.
Yeah, the planned vacations. I'm too much of an athlete to want to take a vacation.
Yeah, right.
No vacations. One small vacation next year, but that's about it.
True. But then what I need to improve on, I mentioned this before, but just being more risky / ambitious with changes for my more advanced athletes, like taking more risks. I feel like I've been using.
I don't think it's also like too bad because worst case everything goes terribly,
Yeah.
but then you just go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah.
and then it'll fix itself.
Right. But like before, I kind of just had that mindset of like, oh, like things are going well and I don't want to screw it up for this athlete. But then I'm like, well, there's sometimes like that risk needs to be taken if you want to see them like realize their full potential.
Yeah, especially if things have not been going well for a minute.
Yeah.
It needs to be a bigger change.
Okay. And then the next question, I guess, is where you still need to improve as an athlete. So I think for me, this one was just trying to do too much, saying yes to too many things, like outside of powerlifting. Just trying to be more I've been trying to be more present with my friends who don't really powerlift, but then I felt like I kind of overdid it.
I've said no to a lot of stuff. There's some friends in town this week, and I really only see them once a year, so I'm like, sure, let's go hang out. And I go, we get froyo on Sunday, and then they say something like, "Oh, when are you free?" And I pretty much said Saturday. Well, it's granted this is when this is being recorded. It's the week of Christmas, but I said Saturday, and they're like, "Oh, dang, you aren't free before that." And I was like, "Well, I got to train on Monday. Like, I gotta train on Wednesday, and those are my important days." And they're like, "Oh, what about before?" I don't like doing stuff before because it makes me too happy before my training. Yeah. So I gotta. I can do it like Tuesday night. So tonight I'm gonna hang out with them. But today I have my easiest day, and But it's just harder to do everything.
Yeah, I feel like you're the same way. It's like when you get to the gym, you want like nothing holding you back, like just focusing on the training.
I've thought about this a lot, and really like anything. In this is gonna sound a little selfish, but anything. Let's say I'm training at 5 to 7, and that's how long it takes me to get my really important stuff done. There's nothing that can happen at 5 to 7 on Monday that is more important than my training. Like an athlete, or if they text me something, it's not an emergency, right? And no one's texting me any emergencies. I don't know. Maybe they are on my phone. I'm doing it right now. But there's just nothing going on in the world. There's nothing like anyone at the gym can say to me that's more important than my top set right now. And so it's like, why would I really give anything else the number one priority? Like, I'll respond to my athletes before training, I'll respond to them after. During, I'm a little more just focused on my own training.
Right.
But like if anyone just walks up to me at the gym and wants to start a conversation, it's like whatever that conversation is not, there's a very good chance, I don't know, maybe it will, but it's not going to change my life. And I'd rather have my PR than have whatever the result is of this conversation.
Yeah. That's something that for me, I've been trying to improve on in the gym, is like just letting people do their workout. But then like if I want to talk to them, I'll just wait till after they're done, like their first back down or something. Just because I know people care. Like even me, like if it's like week 3 or 4, like I really just want to lock in because I need that to move a certain way.
Yeah.
What about you? Like what are you trying to improve on as an athlete?
So I have been a lot better about prioritizing my training in the gym, and a lot of my athletes are smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
If something pops up, and of course I'll respond to them afterwards. But I would say the biggest thing is I was handling a lot more this year and getting my sleep before my athletes' meet days, before handling, well, even if they aren't or even if I'm not handling them, like let's say they're in another state, I still want to watch the stream, and then the stream is early in the morning. But getting my sleep before those days, I normally get my sleep, but those days I do not get my sleep, that's for sure. Eating my vegetables, I have eaten like 4 servings of vegetables this whole year. It's terrible. I need to eat more vegetables for my blood pressure. And then going on more walks as the winter has come. I have gone on less walks.
Yeah.
And I feel it.
Those last 2, I feel that. Like I've been taking like a green supplement, but like
I don't think it's the same.
It's definitely not the same.
Yeah. Like I don't even know if there's much science behind it.
Yeah, no. I only started doing it because
I was tempted to do it, but I didn't want to spend $30-$40.
Yeah, right.
And it's also, I really don't.
Like, I'm not sure if you know who Christian Guzman is.
Yeah.
Like he was advertising it like in 2019. I was like, I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? Like, I don't think my gut health is probably the best.
I mean, I'm sure it's better than nothing, but it's still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the general health will be good because I guess I could eat more protein too. I've been eating the bare minimum. I don't like eating the bare minimum. I like eating more than 200 grams. I think it's better for my training.
After that discussion we had with Andrew, which I'm not sure when that's going to be released, but
we need to figure that part out.
Basically, like, I think what he said kind of nailed on the head. Like, he was having a lot of health problems. Even like when his stress went down, like his health problems were still there, where I felt like he said something where I was like, oh, I think I have the same thing, where his weight would just fluctuate a lot.
Oh, really?
Like, according to his gut health.
Mine's pretty chill for the most part.
Yeah, but I think some of the foods that I eat, like, maybe it's not the best.
You know, McDonald's pre-workout?
Yeah, the McDonald's pre-workout.
I don't eat out much, so it's... Whatever I'm eating is, for the most part, made at home. I'd say my diet is mainly, I eat my yogurt bowl in the morning, and then I eat my cream of wheat bowl pre-workout. And then post-training, I eat meat and rice.
Yeah,
and then there's a few snacks in between.
A lot of white rice. I was gonna say, like, for me, I think it ties in with the vegetables because.
But I don't eat vegetables. I eat my fruits. I eat fruits. I'd say normally 2 to 3. About 3 on average, but definitely 2 servings a day for the most part. Blueberries and bananas.
Right, man. You gotta lock in on the diet. Okay. Next question. What grew the coaching the most? I guess I'll start with this one. I guess I'll go next. For me, it was definitely this podcast. I kind of feel like this gave me more of a presence as a coach in gyms.
The podcast has helped. I've had a few people who sign up, or maybe after they sign up, they start listening. But I think it just helps.
Yeah.
It helps them learn.
Right.
And then they like learning. So then they're like, this is awesome.
And then the thing that helped me the earliest with this year was just being at new gyms, obviously posting, but also like hanging out with all my clients at one gym and having a large presence at a gym, especially like if you're all wearing your team shirts, because it looks really professional and you got a lot of aura in the gym.
There's a lot of aura.
Like,
we took a team shirt photo at Cougar.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how many of my people were there.
Bro, I walked in, 5 people
photo.
like to the right, like CLS shirts. Like, I knew like 3 of them.
There were only there were 4 competing that day, but I think they were all in the photo.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. Like, some compete in the morning, some compete in the afternoon. Yeah. So,
but it was funny because like
today.
Funny story is like I walked into Cougar and they're like, "Oh, you're Theo, like you're Eric's friend." And then my friend is walking next to me. He's like, "Bro."
Do you remember who said that to you?
It was I think it was Landon.
Landon.
Yeah. Like it's like nice to see you in person. That's what he said or something like that.
Okay.
I finally met you. And
I thought you already met Landon.
I think. Oh no, I haven't. I just talked to him on the DMs.
He's cool.
Yeah, but so funny. Walked in with like one of my friends who hasn't powerlifted for years, and he was like, "Bro, you're like a celebrity in here."
Yeah.
I was like,
I went up to your people, and then they said the same exact thing to me. And Noah was like, "Bro, it was cool looking." So he's the other guy on the podcast.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a huge fan of your work. I was like, wait, what has he done?
But we recorded. This is our 23rd or 24th podcast.
Yeah,
which is more than I thought we've done. It's a good amount, so I think it's worth it. We'll keep going,
especially with the clips. Like,
yeah.
And
then for me, I would say the handling and posting on Instagram / this podcast is what grew it the most. And then obviously, the client results and how happy they are with the service were the main things. But I feel like if you have back when I had around 10 clients and if they're making results and they're happy, it's still, there needs to be a little extra nudge to get things going. So the handling and the posting is something extra that can be done with all of that.
Yeah, I think something which a lot of coaches' major goal is to make it outside of their like home city, and I felt like that was happening a lot with you this year. You feel like you have a lot of athletes.
Yeah, they
everywhere.
came mainly from the posting, but they also, like, I repost my people all the time whenever they post.
Right.
So it's like they somehow stumble across my page, and then they see that, and then we start talking, and yeah, then we go from there.
Yeah.
But it's been good.
Okay. Next question.
Yeah, I think this is the last question, right?
Yeah. All right. What are you looking to do for 2026?
Yes, so looking to build up a full-time roster. I want to start posting on YouTube and get a little more of the long-form content. I don't even know how long it'll be. I don't think it'll be, maybe it'll be as long as this podcast. And become much more consistent with posting more of the educational content on Instagram. It was good this year, but it was still up and down of, like, I had a lot of posts, and then X amount of time went by and I didn't really have too many posts. And then for my athletes, I'm looking to have very good showings at CNATs and Age Division Nationals. At CNATs, I'm not too sure if I have anyone who will really place, but I think at Age Division Nationals, I'll have a handful of people who will place. So I really want to go to those meets, handle them, and make sure that with the proper game day handling, they have the highest chance of placing as high as possible.
Right. Okay. Solid goals here. For me, I guess, like, from the coaching aspect, I do want to try doing the daily post for a month in the new year, so I can maintain that frequency.
Yes.
Yeah. And then overall, I want to be more involved with the coaching community and bounce off more ideas with other coaches. We already started doing that.
It's been easier with the podcast because we just have them on and then we talk and see what's up.
And then something that I've been thinking about in general is just doing more case studies with certain athletes, with their coaches, and ask about the problem solving with certain things. Just because I do feel like there's probably a lot of athletes who are curious about these other high level competitors and, like, the problems that they deal with. Because sometimes, like, it's not too far off from what you're actually running into, and, like, their program doesn't look too far off from what they're doing. Or maybe it is way different, and it's just interesting to see. So, like, yeah, just more nitty gritty questions, because I think those things people care about. And just, give something to the community that maybe they haven't really been seeing a lot of more recently.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's kind of the main thing for me. And then, yeah, I think the same thing for me, just pick up more clients, like, get to what I think would be a very, like, stable amount of clients for a full-time roster. And then, yeah, educational content.
Yes.
Maybe more meme content as well. But,
That'll
yeah.
be good. Good podcast. More podcast episodes
Yeah.
to come. By this time next year, it should be like 70,
Yeah.
which is a good amount. Or 80. I don't know about 80. It should be up there.
Okay.
So we'll keep improving it, and we'll keep getting some guests on. If there's any guests you guys want to see, let us know.
Right.
And we're just trying to find people who are we like doing the in-person stuff.
Yeah.
So find people who are somehow in Texas, or when we go to nationals, I'm sure we'll see if we can get some people who also made the trip.
Yeah, right. So, hope you enjoyed this podcast. Make sure to rate us 5 stars on Spotify,
Yes.
and you can follow us on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. Have a happy new year.
Yep. Peace.